Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Warrior Beauty. This is Christina, and I wanted to talk to you today about supporting a cancer patient in your life, whether it be a family, friend, or a coworker. And just from my perspective, I'm sure not everyone has this happen to them, but just from my perspective, what's happened, good and bad, with people supporting and um, interacting with a cancer patient. If you don't know already, I'm a stage 4 metastatic melanoma patient. There is no cure for melanoma in late stages, but I am in a clinical trial, and that is extending my life and working fabulously right now. So um, let's talk about the good things first. If you know someone who's a cancer patient, it's very important to just let them know how much you care about them and how much you love them, and just to be there for them when they need it. I know it's hard and not everybody knows what to say or what to do, but just simply a hug, a phone call or a text, just letting them know how much you care means the world. If you want to, send flowers or balloons or something, that's fine too. But um, honestly, the most important thing ever is when somebody um, hugs me or wants to talk to me and understands. That's another thing too. I've had some people that are very close to me actually look up my diagnosis, which can be scary if it's not something very current. You shouldn't look at, don't Dr. Google things, but they at least cared enough to know or actually listen when I told them, so, and are kind of keeping track of what I said, so they can talk to me about it, because if you don't know or you don't understand it, it kind of isn't helpful for us, to constantly be the cancer patient explaining. You do a lot of that anyways with friends, family, coworkers, explaining what's going on. Um, and then there's some things, honestly, that as the cancer patient, you go through and you get, certain diagnosis, and you don't even know everything about, and melanoma is very unruly. It does whatever it wants to do. It's not like other cancers, and it's actually a lot more deadly than a lot of other cancers, and it does so many different things, and it just depends on the patient and where it is and what it's doing and their BRAF mutation, and there's like so many different variables. Just kind of, listening. Make sure that you listen and make sure that you love on them, and also give them a little bit of room, and take a grain of salt if you don't hear from your friend or family member for a little bit. They're going through a horrific time in their life if it's late stage melanoma, and they need to have time to process. Um, when I first was diagnosed, I was letting everybody know. My husband was helping with it. He would text, my family, his family, friends, people at work, people at church. We literally had lists of people that things were going out to. And sometimes people got upset that they didn't hear enough, which was crazy because we were, she's over here, she just had surgery, she's out of surgery, she's in the room, she's doing this, she's doing that. Sometimes there's a break in between, to breathe and take a breath and heal. And he was trying to take care of me and answer everybody's questions, and he did a great job with it. But sometimes people are upset and I guess thought they should have had more information at the time, but I don't know. It was kind of a thing where you're having to go through it before there's something else to say. So if you know someone in that situation who is a cancer patient, just give them the time to process, because that's really important too. At first, I would tell everyone to, when every scan was, what time it was, what day it was, and then that gets overwhelming too, though, because then quickly, you know, like, how did your scan go? How are you feeling? How are you feeling? You know, from several people so then you're like copying and pasting, fine, good. I don't know yet. The doctor will call me as soon as they read, you know, the report to the doctor, and the doctor knows, so I'll let you know. It gets a little overwhelming. The whole thing is overwhelming. Who am I kidding? It's unfathomable. It's hard to describe to someone who's never had this diagnosis, and I wouldn't wish this on my worst enemy. Like, it's just unreal what you go through, and you lose track of time and what day it is and what week it is, and especially when you're healing from surgeries. I went through 3 surgeries back to back after my diagnosis, and was working full-time and going back and forth trying to work full-time. Then I got sick and went into the hospital on my second combo of immunotherapies, and my doctor was like, that's it, you're done. I needed time to go through my treatments and to heal from my surgeries, and I had constant progression from April of 2018 to at that point September, and then it was going into the holidays and more progression, and a change in medication again that affected me, that your body has to get used to. It was just and you know, trying to have Christmas, my favorite time of year, my birthday, and make things somewhat normal for my family, and then just trying to, you know, stay connected to everyone in my life, family and friends, but not feeling like myself at all. Like, I don't even know what I'm trying to say, I guess. Just my husband and I have never had to deal with anything like this before, or my children, and the whole thing is just horrifying, and it's a lot to navigate. So I also at that time was working full-time, like I said, and when I was sick and in the hospital, and after that, I wasn't supported by people that I had worked with for 10 years. You know, when I first had my lung surgery and my lung lobe out, they sent flowers. A couple people asked how I was doing. When they found out my doctor was taking me off for a year, they were really snide about it and were like, I've never heard of anyone having their doctor take them off for a year. Well, have you known anyone with stage 4 metastatic melanoma who may not have that much longer to live? I mean, there were people that I worked with who had cancer in their families, someone that even had cancer themselves, and just completely stopped even asking if I was okay. I know these people for so long. I had to let that kind of hurt go. That's big. Self-care is huge when you're a cancer patient. And I'm doing this video today. It was very hard for me to decide whether to do it or not, because I tried to just not think about this stuff. But I wanted to let you know how important it is to take care of you. And if you need to stop working, and I'm permanently disabled now, per the Social Security people, and my employer, ex-employer, I had to give it to God. I pray for those people, and I had to give it to God and hope that if they ever go through anything like I have, that someone would be kinder to them. I mean, God forbid, I don't wish that on my worst enemy, but I just, some things you just have to let go. I had friends also too that just kind of faded into the background. You know, they asked at first, and then they just kind of all of a sudden were not checking on me, and I have no idea why. I don't know. I think sometimes it's just too much for people, or they don't know what to do or say. Nothing was getting better. I was having constant progression, so it's kind of a way of protecting themselves. I had some family members that are amazing. They flew across the country to come and see me and Randy, and to support us and love on us, and that's wonderful. I had other family shave their head when I had to shave my head and get my whole brain radiation. That was a very, very scary time, and I went to each whole brain radiation by myself and dealt with all the emotions of it afterward by myself until my husband was home and my kids. And around that time, kind of realized some of my family is very super supportive. Like I said, shaved their heads, got tattoos that advocate for melanoma awareness. 2 people did that, which is awesome. And but then there were other people that kind of just faded off into the background. Some people try to make you feel better, I guess, by saying things, telling their person, whoever else they knew that had cancer, which is completely different because melanoma has doesn't have chemo. It deals with immunotherapy and completely different drugs. So it's kind of, hard. And then you're trying to stay positive even with the constant progression. I was trying to stay positive and trying to be in the moment, and I'd have people, oh yeah, and she died 2 weeks later, and you're just like, oh, it's just too. Or people will say, oh well, this will just be your new normal. There is nothing normal after your diagnosis. Nothing normal at all. Like, even still, well, we've had a pandemic and everything, so it's put a monkey wrench into stuff, but even with my every 2-week treatments now, nothing's normal. I wish. Sometimes I wake up and I want to cry because and I've even prayed to God and be like, I just want to be normal again. But what is normal? I don't even know anymore. I try to live every day like, it's normal to the best of my ability. I have to shelter in place still because of the pandemic. MDA, even though we're here in Texas now because of my treatment, MDA still has really strict rules for treatment, and so to keep me safe and to stay up with their rules, I can't go anywhere really or do anything. I mean, I can walk to the mailbox with my mask on, or I can stay in the car if we want to, go through a drive-through or drive over to, get groceries or something. I can stay in the car while my husband has things loaded up, and I can see outside the window, but that's about it. It's just, he does what he can to everything he can to be supportive. My husband, he's retired now, and he takes great care of me every single day. I try to do a little bit of the housework, like dusting a little bit, but even sometimes, doing stuff like that wears me out. So he's stepped up with a lot of that. And, I still, when I have good days, I try and do what I can with the house and everything. And but then you have good days when you almost feel like yourself for a second, and then the next day you're completely exhausted. That's just part of the medication, the immunotherapies I take, and some of the other drugs that I have to take, and my thyroid pooping out on me. So my husband and my kids have been amazing. I've always been really open with my kids about everything with the cancer, and let them know. They all know first what's going on. But I have had other people that you would think would be close to you say that they basically can't handle it. They can't deal with it. I've somehow hurt them just by having the cancer, and I realize people that are close to you are going to be affected, of course, but I guess I should be thankful that they were honest and said that they couldn't deal with like basically just couldn't, they just didn't have it in them to deal with the cancer. And even though that really hurt me, I had to just let go and let God, like give that person or those people, there's more than one, to God. Those people that disappeared from my life, the friends that kind of got quiet, and the family members that weren't supportive. I pray for them, and I just, your life, if you are a cancer patient, is important too. You're going through unfathomable circumstances every day. And if someone's not available or going to be negative in the things that they say to you, you don't need that in your life. No matter who that person is, you still love them, but love them from a distance. Your life matters, and if that sounds selfish, then be selfish. Your life matters. Your treatment is 100% your focus and the most important thing in your life, and you can't rest and go through treatment and deal with all these things with negative, or not so nice, things being said. You have to let it go. You have to forgive for yourself and let it go. If you have any work issues with, people that you work with not being supportive, whether you stay at work or whether you leave, you have to let it go. You have to, state your point and then let it go. If they don't understand, that's on them, because your life is important. And I just wanted you to know these things. I saw both of these and I thought that they were very, that they say a lot to me. The first one says, choose your battles wisely, because if you fight them all, you'll be too tired to fight. And that's so true. If you're, people only understand, most people are thinking of themselves all the time, and people only understand from their own point of view, I guess. So sometimes, and it's not, you can't beg someone to love you enough to be there for your cancer journey. I know people that their spouses have even left. My husband loves me so much, and I am so thankful for that, because I know other people whose hearts have been broken. Their spouses have left. Their children get sick of it and they can't deal because they're just tired of dealing with their parent being sick. Other people have had job issues too, or the people at work are just not supportive, and family members who are just not supportive or act like, especially because it's melanoma, act like it's not serious. That is the craziest thing ever. And then the second one here says, there are some people who could hear you speak 1,000 words and still not understand you, and there are others who will understand you without you even speaking a word. And that's the God's honest truth too. I have very close family members and friends, a few that are like that. Like they just know. They know by the sound of my voice. They know. They just get a feeling and they just know to call or check on me. And it just happens to be the time I needed to hear from them the most. And that's the most wonderful thing you can do, is just be there for the person. And that's, I think, about all I have to say. Be there for the person that that has cancer, and their caregivers, their children. I know it's hard. It's very hard. But if you love them, you would be there, and you would be able to give support. And there are no answers. Sometimes there is no magic wand. Trust me, if there was, I would have it in my hand right now. But just you being there means the world. And the person that may have a lot of time left, but they may not. And with cancers, really aggressive cancers for sure, nobody knows. So why not spend the time that you do have making happy memories? That's the most wonderful thing ever, and that's what will be here when that person's not there anymore. So I appreciate you all listening to me. If you want to continue on this journey, please tap subscribe or the bell for when I upload another video. And oh, by the way, Randy did my hair today. This is the first hairstyle I've had since December, a little comb over. So I will talk to you soon. Bye.